Twin flames. Once the ritual of Arpanam concluded for him, it was the time for Yajmanan Pranava to ask something from Lord Hanuman as prasadam. Like other Mahtangs, he too sought the supreme knowledge which leads to moksha. Lord Hanuman started his post Arpanam talk with a question. He asked, O Mahtangs, I told you Lord Ram's Leela in Tadaka's forest? Can you tell which power was used by Lord Ram to dismantle the fortress of Tadaka? Yajaman Pranava replied at once, Shiv Yoga, my lord. Lord Hanuman was expecting this answer. He said dismissively, if it was for Shiv Yoga, any rishi could have defeated Tadaka. Rishi Vishwamitra himself was a great Shiv yogi. Why did he feel the need of young Prince Ram to defeat Tadaka? Urmi, a young Matang woman, stood up and said tentatively, O Lord, I think Sri Lakshmana played a crucial role in defeating Tadaka. At this, Lord Hanuman smiled in such a way that it felt to Urmi like an encouraging pat on the back. She said, matter of factly, Lakshmana slipped into the trap of Tadaka like an ordinary human being. Lord Ram pulled him out of the trap, but Lakshmana didn't come out alone. He brought into light the real and fragile form of Tadaka and her sons. If it weren't for Lakshmana, Tadaka would have remained in her invincible demonic form. That is right. But what is the core force which rid the Tadaka's fortress of dark power? Lord Hanuman said, flashing a look of consolation at Urmi before turning to address the entire assembly. O Mahtangs, minds of most of you, including that of Urmi, are circling around the answer, but not able to catch it. The answer is love, the power of love. Love occurs so naturally to humans that their minds do not register its presence. Just like a fish remains oblivious to the presence of the sea, even though it lives in it. Oh yes, love, Urmi said, cursing her mind. I was getting there, Lord. It was the bond between Lord Ram and Lakshman which made it possible to do what they did in Tadaka's forest. My mind can't help but visualize that the real Tadaka was hiding herself into the deep pit of evil. Lord Ram sent Lakshmana into the pit. When Lakshmana caught hold of Tadaka, Lord Ram pulled him out with the rope of love. That is great visualization of me. Lord Hanuman said with a broad smile, be it the pit of ignorance, or evil, or karma, or desires, or anything else. If somebody who is inside the pit is at least so awakened as to catch hold of the rope of supreme knowledge, a rishi can become his guru and pull him out. But someone like Tadaka, who is too deep into the pit of evil, refuses to recognize the rope thrown by the rescuer. What should the rescuer do? Send a fellow rescuer inside the pit? That is why Lord Ram let Lakshmana slip into the trap of Tadaka. He was assured by the fact that the rope of love connected him with Lakshmana that could be used any time to pull him back. Love between Sri Rama and Lakshmana rescued souls of entire Tadaka's forest, while the love between Sri Rama and Mata rescued souls of entire Manavaloka. Let me tell you how. That was the time when kings used to spend some time every day working in the fields like a farmer. That season, fields of royal family of Mithila had yielded so good crops that King Janaka decided to keep some of his fields on the fallow for a season or two. One morning, when he was ploughing to clear off the weeds, his plough got stuck into something which felt like a thin root of a distant tree. The king set aside his plough, bent down to observe. It was a white, semi transparent, and slippery root, spread horizontally. He had never seen such a thing before. Curiosity led him to scrape soil from a strange rope like root, first a few meters on the right side, which led to nothing, then a few feet on the left side. There it was, a white, semi transparent, watermelon sized thing, which the king's eyes categorized as an unknown fruit, and his sense of touch as a sack of strange fluid. It was a warm thing, but its touch sent a chilly sensation in every inch of Janaka's body. His curiosity instructed his hands to remove the soil around this fruit to reveal it fully, but his instinct made him do exactly the opposite. He placed the soil on the exposed half of the fruit. Janaka made a vain attempt to get to his feet. He was glued to the ground, his hands gingerly placed on the soil as though he was in a dream, touching belly of his pregnant wife. Janaka's dreamy experience was cut short by sounds of bells around the necks of the pair of oxen that was jerking their heads to ward off flies, waiting for their owner to resume ploughing. Janaka stood up, unattached the plough, and walked the pair of them to the tree where his horse was resting under watch of two soldiers. He gestured his men to stay there as he mounted his horse and hurried to his palace. Was it a coincidence that a group of rishis, led by Rishi Vishwamitra, had arrived in Mithila the previous evening? Was the discovery of such a peculiar object possibly related to the visit of the rishis? King Janaka's mind was racing with a speed his horse could never match. While his mind wandered in vain, his horse took him straight to the royal guest house where the rishis were staying. A fruit, Rishivar, a strange fruit, uttered Janaka breathlessly as soon as he saw Rishi Vishwamitra sitting under a neem tree in the guest house courtyard. A white, semi transparent fruit in the fields I discovered, Gurudev. Please come with me and see. Rishi Vishwamitra spoke with a grim expression on his face and a casual tone. Calm down. O king. I am perfectly content with the fruits served to me here in the guest house. I have no desire to. No, Rishiva. Janaka cut across and said, It may not be a fruit. It is a strange thing. A watermelon sized thing filled with hazy liquid. In the middle of it, I saw a small reddish thing of a shape of a bean seed. I didn't dig out thinking that it. Okay, I know what you have seen, said Vishwamitra fretfully. Janaka was worried about the fact that Rishi Vishwamitra, who was known for his genial nature, was unquiet and unfriendly since he had arrived to Mithila the previous evening. Rishi Vishwamitra knew that the thing discovered by Janaka was not a fruit, but would be body of Devi Lakshmi, who had descended on earth in a way that made entire Rishi community fall in grief. The gods were not happy either. Until a fortnight ago, the happiness of rishis and gods knew no bounds. When Lord Ram's body had started developing in Devi Kausalya's womb, Vishwamitra had played a crucial role in clearing the obstructions created by Shukracharya. Now he had been given another task by the gods to facilitate descent of Devi Lakshmi on earth, and he was not at all excited about it. And oh Mahtangs, you will know the reason in a short while. Rishi Vishwamitra covered his emotions and got on to the task. He said to Janaka in a formal tone, O king, the team of rishis here is here to execute a task related to the thing that you have discovered in your fields. We need to start a yajna which will go on for many months. Presence of you and Queen Sunayana would be required from time to time. Both of you are required today at the beginning ceremony, which will take place exactly where you have discovered that thing. Go take bath and bring the queen with you. We had given a list of things required for the yajna to your Prime Minister yesterday. Get them delivered at the yajna field. About an hour later, Rishi Vishwamitra was walking out of the royal palace, the king on his right side and the queen on the left, and 11 other rishis following them. The queen had a picture on her head, on the neck of which was wrapped a red thread. One end of the thread was in the right hand of Rishi Vishwamitra, his left hand occupied by end of a white thread that was wrapped around the basket of flowers and leaves being carried by the king. As they walked barefoot towards their fields, Rishi Vishwamitra thought it right to impart necessary information and instructions about the yajna. He said placidly, O the king and queen of Videha, your knowledge of the universe is at par with rishis. You know very well that the end of the kalpa, everything on earth melts down. Then a layer forms few miles above the earth's surface, which encloses all negative elements of the earth. The positive elements form the solid earth where Satya Yuga starts. At the beginning, life arises out of non-life. Bodies form out of earth itself. That means Earth gives birth to the initial bodies. King Janaka had a sharp mind. He immediately guessed, Rishiva, are you going to say that what I discovered in the fields is not a fruit but a body? A living body? That Earth has given birth to an animal or something? A human, Janaka. The Earth is expecting a human, a female to be precise. Vishwamitra came straight to the point. Who on earth, who is this rich soul, Rishiva? Yes, O Mahtangs, these were the exact words of Janaka. He further said, she has to have very bad accumulated karma to be taking birth this way. How is it even possible? Bad karmas would destroy that body even before the soul enters in it. There is no way she can see light through a body birthed by the earth. Rishi Vishwamitra was not allowed to the fact that it was Devi Lakshmi who was taking that birth, not a rich soul. He heaved a deep sigh and said, "Oh, the rulers of Videha, this is a kind soul who has volunteered to go through this for the welfare of the entire human race. This is what all I can reveal to you right now. As per the laws of karma, this seems impossible. But there is a reason this soul has chosen the place of Mithila as her home. There is something at your palace which will make it possible. I am here to facilitate this birth." Janaka knew the laws of karma very well. He knew that if it were a kind soul who had chosen to take birth the way she did, it had to be a goddess. But he did not press further to know the identity of the soul. He exchanged a look of mutual understanding with his equally wise soulmate queen, Sunayana, and the fire of curiosity in their mind got dosed for the time being. O Mahtangs, to tell you briefly, by taking birth from earth, Devi Lakshmi had taken karma of all souls of earth on herself. Obviously, the bad karma outweighed the good karma at that point of time. Therefore, she had taken the net bad karma of entire earth on herself. Destruction of that bad karma was necessary to end sufferings of souls on earth. There are two types of bad karma, Vikarma and Kukarma. Vikarma can be destroyed by doing good karma, but to destroy Kukarma, one has to suffer the consequences. I will repeat, there are two types of bad karma, Vikarma and Kukarma. Vikarma can be destroyed by doing the good karma, but to destroy the Kukarma, one has to suffer the consequences. Devi Lakshmi had resolved to suffer herself for Kukarma of entire human race. Yes, she suffered for the entire humanity. Mother Sita suffered, O Mahtangs, she suffered. Lord Hanuman paused as his voice choked with emotion. It was an extremely tense silence in Hanumandal. Most of the Mahtang women had their eyes moist and were on the verge of breaking down. Lord Hanuman recomposed himself, heaved a deep sigh, and said, "Emotions are a trait of mortals. They bind a soul to the confinements of space and time. I am supposed to be detached from them, else they weaken me. I need to take a break from time and space." Baba Mahtangs stood up and gestured Yajman Pranava, and a moment later the Yajman lay on the ground, his forehead touching the Lord Hanuman's holy feet. Lord Hanuman closed his eyes and vanished from view of all Mahtangs present in the Hanumandal. Yajman Pranava's body lay at the spot, limp. Apparently, he had fallen unconscious and his soul reached in some other world, most probably the Swapnaloka, the world of dreams. He saw that he was holding in his hand free end of a thick rope that seems to stretch to infinity. He just his hand causing a wave in the rope that traveled away from him. Many years passed. He was now an old man, but the end of rope was still in his hand. He felt that the wave he had created in the rope traveled far away, hit the barrier. Now it was coming back towards him. He was frightened that the wave had now grown multiple times in magnitude and was going to hit him fatally. There was no escape. The wave came and landed a fatal blow to his dream. He woke up in a Hanumandal with a faint cry of fear. His forehead was still touching Lord Hanuman's holy feet, who had returned from break. Lord Hanuman stood him up, filled every pore of his soul with divine light of his smile, and gestured him to return to his assigned seat. "What is karma?" Lord Hanuman resumed his talk with this question and went on to answer it himself. "You are inside a web of strings, the strings of time. At any given point of time, you are placed on 7 or more strings of time. When you perform an action, you create waves in the strings of time. These waves contain the information about what you have done. These waves are your karma and are responsible for your highs and lows in life." Suppose your strings of time are entangled with the strings of time of someone else. That someone else is your karma relative. Any person with whom you have any kind of attachment is your karma relative. It must be noted here that love and hate both are attachments. A person who hates is as much your karma relative as a person you love. Waves in your strings of time create waves in your karma's relative strings, and vice versa. That means your karmas affect karmas of your karma relative, and the opposite is also true. Now, your mind may come up with this thought: Why should karmas of my loved ones and hated ones affect me? This is unfair. You must tell your mind that it is your karma which decides who become your loved one and who becomes your hated one. In other words, it is your karma which decides whose karma should affect you and should not. It is completely fair. If you don't want someone's karma to affect you, detach from them. Your soul cannot choose which family to take birth in. Your karma decide whether you will take birth in the king's family or beggars. But Devi Lakshmi has choice. She can choose any combination of karma to descend on earth. When she came as Mata Sita, she chose to bear karma of all the souls living on earth so that she could destroy their bad karma. By taking birth as daughter of earth, Devi Sita had made all souls of earth her karma relatives. Oh Mahtangs, I can see that many of you have question in this in mind. Why should Devi Lakshmi suffer for the evil deeds of other souls? Well, there is a phenomenon called vicious cycle of evil. When somebody does evil, they have to suffer. When they suffer, they do more evil. This cycle goes on like this. Suppose a person stole something. Karma punished him by making him starve. While he's starving, he tries to steal food, leading to more bad karma in his account. This is a vicious cycle. This cycle has to be stopped, otherwise, more and more evil would spread, ultimately leading to the total destruction of the world. Take example of Ravana. He was into vicious cycle of evil. Merely killing his body would have solved nothing. He would have continued his evil acts in his next birth. Some good soul had to destroy his evil karma. Somebody had to suffer for his bad karma. There are many good souls in Vishnu Loka who volunteer to do so. They come to earth as karma relatives of evil souls and suffer for them. When they suffer, they don't do further evil, thereby breaking the vicious cycle. Yes, it was necessary to break this vicious cycle of evil on earth. But it was not necessary for Devi Lakshmi to take all the bad karmas on herself. There are thousands of good souls in Vishnu Loka who could have collectively done this task. Rishis and gods, including Lord Vishnu, were in favor of doing just that. Devi Lakshmi overruled them. She decided to be karma relative of all the souls. Oh Mahtangs, suppose two girls are lost in a forest where there is no water nearby. One is a princess who has never experienced scarcity of anything before, and another is a daughter of a poor forest dweller who is used to starving, thirsty for long hours. They are caught in such a situation because of their bad karma. You may think that since both of them are caught in the same adverse situation, both of them are being punished for same bad karma. Such a conclusion would be wrong. Even though adversity of the situation is equal, suffering for princess is way more than the other girl. So the princess is being punished for much worse karma than the other girl. Devi Lakshmi, who herself personifies wealth, happiness, beauty, fortune, riches, and all other positives of universe, lived mostly in a forest in Ma Sita avatar. For Devi Lakshmi to live a moment of hardship of forest is equivalent to an ordinary soul burning in fire of hell for 1,000 years. You cannot imagine the magnitude of bad karma which she destroyed by taking the sufferings on herself. Baba Matang noticed that Lord Hanuman was getting emotional again. He gestured Yajman Pranava to do the prostration ritual should the need arises. Lord Hanuman continued with choked voice. Every time a thorn pricked soft feet of Ma Sita, she endured the pain equivalent to the pain of an ordinary soul goes through when its body parts are chopped violently. Every time a Nishanada hurled abuses at her and raised question at her character, she endured a pain equivalent to the pain an ordinary soul goes through when its body burns alive. Every moment she spent away from Lord Ram, she endured a pain equivalent to pain an ordinary soul goes through when a monster eats its body alive. A tear rolled down the face of Lord Hanuman. He was about to break into sobs. Emotions were pushing him into grip of space and time. His immortality was in danger. Yajaman Pranava sprang to his feet and clambered confusedly towards Lord Hanuman. Before he could reach his feet, Lord Hanuman disappeared from their view. Since Yajaman could not do prostration when Lord Hanuman was disappearing, Mama Mahtangs had to perform the rituals again, which are done at the beginning of a session of Charan Puja. When Lord Hanuman appeared again, he was calm and composed. Where were we? He resumed his talk. Yes, King Janaka, Queen Runayana, and a group of rishis led by Rishi Vishwamitra were heading to the spot in the fields where a strange object was discovered by Janaka. The king could sense that something huge was taking place. In an attempt to divulge the details about this matter, he asked, Rishivar, I cannot even imagine the magnitude of total bad karma accumulated in karma account of all the souls. How is she going to bear it all? Rishi Vishwamitra replied quietly, O Janaka, as you know very well, bad karmas are of two types, Vikarma and Kukarma. Vikarma shall be neutralized by her soulmate, and to destroy Kukarma, she has volunteered to suffer. O Mahtangs, when soulmates meet each other, their bad karmas of Vikarma category get cancelled by their collective good karma. Lord Ram had taken birth with so much amount of good karma that it was enough to destroy all the Vikarma taken up by Mata Sita. Now I want you to revisit the analogy of a pit. See, the souls on earth were fallen in the pit of bad karma. Lord Vishnu was right outside the pit, ready to pull them out. But the souls were so ignorant that they are not able to recognize the rope being offered to them by Lord Vishnu. Devi Lakshmi volunteered to go into the pit of bad karma. Lord Vishnu pulled her out as he was connected with her with the rope of love. She in turn was connected to all the other souls. When she came out, all other souls too came out of the pit of bad karma. Janaka realized that if a girl had taken up bad karmas of entire earth, her soulmate had to be Lord Vishnu. Therefore, the girl had to be Devi Lakshmi. An ordinary king would not have been able to control his excitement at this realization, but it was Janaka, the king, whose knowledge, or at least theoretical part of it, was at par with the rishis. He placidly remarked, Rishiva, she won't be able to connect to her soulmate before she comes of age. I'm afraid these bad karmas will kill her before that happens. Who is going to protect her until her soulmate comes to meet her? If she is not protected, her body may die the moment her soul enters in it. Rishi Vishwamitra said in a deep whisper, there is something at your palace which will protect her. Janaka took this whisper as a cue of staying silent on the subject unless initiated by Rishi Vishwamitra. He followed all the rituals without any further question. On the request of rishis, he arranged to put up tents in the fields for a rishi to stay for the next 6 months. The expected time of the yajna was to go on. After the long day of performing rituals and making arrangements for rishis, he finally returned to his room in the evening. His body was tired, but his mind was riding the wild horses of curiosity. What was there in his palace which would protect this miraculous girl against all the bad karmas she was taking birth with? He knew that it is Indra who distributes happiness and sorrows, pleasure and pain, high and lows to his soul based on their karma. Rishis describe many ways to stop Indra from doing that. For instance, if a soul is protected by Lord Shiva, Indra cannot give pain until the soul's connection with Lord Shiva breaks. Was Lord Shiva going to protect her? But how would a little girl establish connection with Lord Shiva? A great feat requires tremendous amount of penance. His stomach squirmed when the answer struck him. Yes, there was a thing in his palace, a bow which had the power to connect a soul instantly with Lord Shiva. It was a royal family heirloom he had almost forgotten about. In childhood itself, he was warned by his guru to use the bow only in the most urgent circumstances. He never felt need of it. The storeroom for his family heirlooms was right next to his bedroom. He couldn't resist the desire to see the bow. It took a good 10 minutes to unlock the room, another 10 minutes to unlock the black wooden box in which the bow was kept. He took out the bow from the box and placed it on the table, which lay against a wall. Pictures of his predecessors smiling at him from the wall. The string of the bow was torn. He bowed down and touched it with his forehead, reciting a mantra in his mind. The string had now become so loose that he easily untied it from one end. He again recited a mantra in his head, keeping the free end of a string clapped to the middle of his forehead. A feeling of absolute fearlessness signified that he was now protected from onslaught of bad karma as long as the string of the bow remained untied from one end. If there were any sufferings due for him, Indra would have to wait as long as the string remained untied from one end. No one but he himself could tie the string back to end the protection, or someone who could replace the bow as his protector, which meant that practically he was protected as long as he wanted. He felt elated that he could avoid sufferings for his entire life. This feeling, however, was eclipsed by the fact that the protection of the bow could only postpone the suffering. It could not destroy the karmas responsible for suffering. Even though he could spend this life happily with the protection of the bow, in the next birth he would have to face the postponed karmas. This, he remembered, was the reason why he never thought of getting protection of the bow. His aim in life was moksha, which could be attained only by destroying the accumulated karma, not by postponing their outcome. He lifted the bow, tied the free end of the string back, and ended the protection. He replaced the bow in its box and returned back to his room, where a comfortable night's sleep was waiting for him. After 6 months in the field, the yajna for Devi Sita's birth was shifted to the castle. Janaka saw that the fruit he had discovered 6 months ago was now a sack of fluid in which a human body could be distinctively seen. The semi-transparent root connected to the sack had turned brown, acquiring look of an ordinary rope. The bow of Shiva had been now replaced in the central inner courtyard of the palace, where yajna was performed for next 1 month. The courtyard was large enough to fit a lake. It was discovered that It was covered with ceiling in such a way that natural lighting could pass through its uninterrupted. Interrupted. When the rishis were assured that the bow was protecting the baby, they handed her over to the royal couple. Rishi Vishwamitra declared, O Janaka, O Sunayana, this child will be protected by this bow as long as one end of its string remains free. No one can tie this string except she herself and her soulmate. At right time, her soulmate will come and tie this string. Then she will walk out of your palace to fulfill the purpose of her life. Lord Hanuman concluded.